Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome back to another weekly reset. Taliesin Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show, except there's something different this week. You might notice that I'm not wearing a tie. Now that's on purpose because this is a Wondrous Wisdom Show Lite. Truth be told, we thought we were going to have to cancel this week's episode because Evie got called away on IRL family business. She's not here. There's no point waiting for her. This is not a trick. She's not here. And I know it's not really a weekly reset without Evie or the hilarious intro, and we had a very funny intro planned this week too, based around BFA's new Brewfest Sausage eating competition, because look, I don't usually care about in-game holidays, right? But I think that I can safely say the Brewfest Sausage eating competition is definitely the best thing ever put into any video game ever, because it's a sausage eating competition, obviously, but also it's totally random in the number of sausages that you have to eat, and especially because sometimes someone will totally start the game already 1-0 up, which results in lots of people getting very upset about how they are getting totally cheated out of the sausage eating competition and loudly complaining about how unfair the sausage eating competition is. My favourite thing though is how after taking part in the competition, you have a 3-minute debuff before you can play again that you can lose by dying. So all around the sausage eating table there are these skeletons of those that couldn't wait to get back to eating sausages, and if you don't think all around the sausage eating table there are the skeletons of those that couldn't wait to get back to eating sausages is the best sentence ever said out loud on the internet, then frankly I don't know what to say to you, sorry. And of course I won the sausage eating competition 5 times to take home the coveted sausage eating trophy toy, and that's very important to me that you know that. So we couldn't do that intro because this isn't a proper weekly reset, hence no tie. But I wanted to make an appearance on your second monitor and talk for a bit anyway, because hey, do you remember last week when we were talking about patch 8.25 and how it had sneakily gone onto the PTR with new models and stuff, but keeping all of its juiciest secrets sneakily hidden, and how I was like, ooh, that's sneaky. If they're hiding that stuff, then that probably means the patch is coming very soon, like maybe 2 weeks? I want to say a couple of weeks, but that's probably being greedy, right? Right? Yeah, that's what I said. Well, if you ignore most of the times that I'm wrong, then I am not wrong very often, Internet, but when I am, I like to be wrong in a really good way, because it turns out patch 8.25 was only 1 week away, which is now no weeks away because patch 8.25 is here. That's either a juicy background download in your pocket or you are very pleased to see me, and I know you're not pleased to see me, so yes, that's right, the new patch, the patch that will reveal so much about where the story and action for the final movement of Battle for Azeroth will go, is ready to pop. Depending on when you are watching this video, it already has popped, and obviously if this were a proper weekly reset, which it's not because I'm not wearing a tie, then we'd do that YouTube thing of everything you need to know about 8.25, and you'd have to pretend that you didn't know about the new Worgen and Goblin models, or the B-Mount Alliance-only quest lines, or Party Sync, or the 15th anniversary raid, and we'd tell you about them, and you'd be like, oh, that's very interesting, thank you, and we'd be like, yes, cool, like and subscribe. But we've had to scrap all that too, and all of the planned Classic news, although I will say that I've decided that of all the things I like about Classic, and there's an awful lot of them, I've now decided that my absolute favourite thing is that everyone wears their guild tabbards, like, all of the time, and I just think that's really neat. I appreciate that. But there's none of that, because this isn't a proper weekly reset. But what I do really want to talk about, what I couldn't not talk about, is the story content of this new patch before it's too late and the update is live and I have to knuckle down and make some cinematic analysis videos, because not only does 8.25 promise the nifty Rathian storyline that we played through on the PTR, not only does it promise the end of the war campaign, which no one has been allowed to even glimpse on the PTR, but it appears to be shipping with those 2 monster cinematics of 3 minutes and over 6 minutes long. That is obviously the most exciting content for me, and you suspect for Blizzard too. As well as their unusually secretive steps to keep the quest a surprise, 8.25 is removing the reputation requirements for all of the previous steps of the war campaign throughout the expansion. they want you to be ready to jump into this stuff too, which makes me think it's quite important. So the first question I want to ask is, how is this content going to be delivered to us? Is it all going to be heaped on the players in one go like the syrup on an especially satisfying pancake? Or is it going to be rationed, time-gated in drips and drabs over the coming weeks like the evil corporation monsters Activision Blizzard are? Well, chances are you already know, because this video looks like it's coming out on a Monday, and of course the patch is on a Tuesday. But here are the options. 1. It's time-gated. And when I say that, the Rathian thing can drop whenever. Basically, that's not what anyone is excited about here. It is quite likely, I feel, that the thrilling conclusion of the war campaign might cover a couple or a few different installments, with new quest chains of around 30 to 45 minutes each week. That would certainly be keeping to the theme. It's how the build-up of the Battle for Dazara Law was staged, with each faction gathering their strength for the attack over a number of resets. And if it were comparable to that, then I honestly wouldn't mind. Those quest lines were substantial and exciting and really well put together. Even having already played them on the PTR, I enjoyed that shit. And of course, with the thrilling conclusion to the war campaign, I haven't played them on the PTR. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I find that when you don't know what's coming next, it's never such a disappointment to have to wait for a WoW story to be continued next reset. And in something as tense as the thrilling conclusion to the war campaign, it might actually help to build the excitement. And this way of delivering the story is what Blizzard have been doing for the last couple of expansions, so I don't expect them to stop now. I imagine that the war campaign is in fact going to reach its conclusion in just big enough or not quite installments over the coming maybe 3 weeks, with the first of those big cinematics hitting in the first week, possibly showing Saurfang's rebel boys teaming up with Lorthamar and Thalyssra and whoever else wants to come along for traitorous fun times and be all like, alright, let's do this, traitors assemble! And the Alliance are all like, hi, we're totally here too, and they're all like, yeah, sorry, of course you are, sorry, totally forgot about you, let's do this! And if that is the way that it goes, then that's okay with me. It's one of the things that you can do in a perpetual universe where events are played out in real time. It's one of the things that I find quite interesting about MMOs as a genre. I'd be okay with this. If it comes down to it, I don't mind waiting a couple of weeks or so for the actual thrilling conclusion of the war campaign and that big awesome 6-minute Death of Saurfang cinematic. And yeah, come on, you know it, I know it, sorry fam, but Saurfang has had not making it to the end of the expansion tattooed on his forehead since Old Soldier. I know, it's very sad. And yet, there's this part of me, even though I know it's probably just the massively over-optimistic, shilly clickbait shillman shill side of me, thinking otherwise. It's the part of me that thinks, you know, the official Blizzard patch announcement post doesn't mention the 15th anniversary event, presumably because it's not going live with the launch of the patch, but it does mention the thrilling conclusion of the war campaign. And Blizz staff do seem really quite excited about all of this, and okay, that's probably just because they've been working really hard on it and can't wait for people to see it, but And then I think that people that I associate with the story, like Christy Golden, are being allowed to leave Blizz to go travelling around a bit next week, and And also, they did pretty much drop all of the 8.2 content on us all in one go, didn't they? Maybe they... And you know, if they were to actually conclude the war campaign this week, then presumably that means it's obvious where we are going for 8.3. And I always said we'd probably get an official 8.3 announcement maybe a week or two after the war campaign wraps up because of that. And honestly, I can really see Ian or Feasel doing one of their big 2-camera live streams to blow our minds with whatever 8.3 actually is to get it over with before BlizzCon. Because I mean, no one is going to want to cramp the style of the new expansion announcement at BlizzCon, right? And when I think of all of those things, it makes me go, but not too much, because I know it's probably just me making it up. It's probably going to be time-gated. That's fine. The second question I have is, was it worth keeping 8.3 a secret for so long? Has the mystery surrounding this patch and its siege into the final straight of the expansion helped keep players engaged and entertained? Or has it given the impression of a lack of purpose in the story, a lack of focus in the expansion with no clear end goal in sight? Well, I think probably a bit of both, and I guess a lot of our final opinions will depend on whether 8.25 and 8.3 turn out to be worth the secrecy. It's a pretty basic observation to note that WoW expansions tend to work best when there is some kind of big fight known in advance that players are aiming towards. Wrath is an obvious example, where Arthur's was a constant presence up until that final confrontation. Whatever bullshit Cataclysm served up, players knew that if they made it through to the end, there was a fight with Deathwing on the cards. Garrosh was revealed as the final boss of Mists before the expansion launched. Legion had that Argus carrot dangling since just 2 months after the expansion launched. The only time the ending has been a total surprise was in WoD, and that's not a comparison anyone wants to be making, I know. If 8.3 turns out to be something really exciting and very imaginative, there's a case that knowing that, players may have been at least a little bit kinder towards BFA, may have been a bit more generous in addressing its obvious faults. But this was always conceived as an expansion that put the narrative front and centre in a way that no expansion ever has before. An incredibly laudable idea, and for me at least, one that has totally worked. I know there are always going to be people who disagree with the Sylvanas character choices this expansion, or who see the burning of Teldrassil as the Night Elves getting dicked rather than the Night Elves getting some really interesting and important story that enriches their history and lore and gives them another layer of tragedy. And that's actually pretty interesting. That's all subjective, I know, but for me at least, whatever faults BFA has, story and story development is not one of them. I think the delivery of BFA's narrative, both in-game and with cinematics, has been outstanding, and for WoW at least, almost revolutionary. So I hope the end of the war campaign is worth the wait. I hope 8.3 is worth the secrecy. I hope Blizzard's plan pays off. I want it to be great because A, I have to play it, but B, because I want the risk they took with BFA to be worth it. I will find out if it's worth it soon after this video hits. You may already have found out, and I can't wait to talk to you about it properly soon. But in the meantime, I'm now taking bets in the chat below this video as to how the story quests will be delivered, what will happen, and what shape is 8.3 going to take. And I will genuinely be awarding a genuine prize to the comment that guesses the closest in my subjective opinion. Start the comment Taliesin is right, but so we can search for them easily, and all comments posted before the launch of 8.25 will be considered. And honestly, you will win a prize, so let us know down in the comments below how it's going to go down. And that's basically it. I'm sorry it's not a proper weekly reset with no tie, but I really wanted to pop up and just share my excitement. Basically, I just wanted to chat with some friends about a video game that I really like. I hope that's okay. But I hope you enjoyed this weekly reset special report with no tie. I've got a feeling it's going to be a pretty busy week or two on the video front, so I'll be seeing a bit more of you than usual. And of course, the proper return of the proper weekly reset next week. So thank you for joining us today. If you did enjoy this little chat, then don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our videos happen. Because without you guys and your total awesomeness, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Senseless. I mean, old boys. From me, Taliesin. Until next time, cheerio.